From doctoring balls with saliva to using sandpapers to scrape the surface of balls, MLB has faced the most controversy of any professional sport. Throughout its scandal-riddled history, the league has witnessed some of the craziest and biggest cheating scandals in sports. In this video, we're discussing the craziest moments MLB players got caught cheating. Number 10. Michael Pineda. While pitching against the Red Sox in 2014, then New York Yankees pitcher Michael Pineda cheated twice against his arch-rivals. The first time around, cameras caught what obviously seemed like a pine tar in Pineda's hand. Pine resin is an illegal substance in baseball that pitchers use to have a better grip on the ball and cause their breaking pitches to have a better effect. He seemingly got away with it, but he had one more in him. Weeks later, the teams faced off again with Pineda on the hill, and this time the pine tar was on his neck, which probably made it even easier to see. Unsurprisingly, Pineda flew too close to the sun the second time around. After a complaint from the Red Sox manager, Pineda got ejected and slapped with a 10-game suspension for his troubles. Another similar famous cheating case in the big leagues is Jay Howell's during the American League Championship Series in 1988 against the New York Mets. In the 8th inning of the game, the umpires discovered that Howell had pine resin hidden in his glove and was kicked out of the game. The Mets scored 5 runs after the pitcher left the game. 9. Honeycutt. But pitchers don't just use pine resin to cheat from the mound. Another way to get a better effect on breaking pitches is to rip the ball's surface before throwing it. This could be done with sandpaper, nails, or even a thumbtack in the glove. Honeycutt dealt not only suffer a tarnished reputation, but also with an actual wound to boot. While with Seattle in 1980, Honeycutt taped to his finger a thumbtack to scuff the ball, which ended up cutting him on the forehead. To make matters worse, his attempt at trickery didn't even work. On the 2 pitches he threw with the thumbtack involved, Honeycutt gave up 2 singles. So to summarize, he tried to cheat, cut himself in the process, and the batters still reached base. Oh, and he got suspended and fined for the incident. 8. Joe Niekro. One player who almost didn't get caught was Joe Niekro. During a game against the California Angels in 1987, while pitching for the Twins against the Angels, he threw a slider that broke the laws of physics. Joe Niekro was using sandpaper to scrape the surface of the ball to achieve a better effect on his pitches. But his trick fell apart when he hit a batter, and the umpire realized that something was wrong with the ball. The umpire went to the mound and asked the pitcher for his glove to check it. Finding nothing, he asked him to empty his pockets. Niekro tried to wriggle out of the situation by throwing the sandpaper he was carrying in his bag on the ground, but was caught and kicked out of the game. Niekro denied any wrongdoing, arguing that as a knuckleballer, he needed the emery board to file his fingernails. And the sandpaper? He said sometimes he sweats a lot, and the emery board gets wet. 7. Chicago Black Sox. Chicago White Sox players were accused of conspiring with gamblers to throw the 1919 World Series, which the Cincinnati Reds won 5-3. The following September, the players were indicted for conspiracy to defraud the public, and White Sox owner Charles Comiskey suspended the 7 players who were still on the team. One of the best moments was when a small boy pleaded with Chicago. White Sox star Joe Jackson, "Say it ain't so, Joe, say it ain't so." Jackson denied. In August 1921, a jury acquitted the men, but baseball's first commissioner, hired to clean up the sport, suspended them for life anyway, declaring that they would never again play professional baseball. The Black Sox scandal was immortalized in the 1988 movie 8 Men Out. 6. Houston Astros sign stealing. In 2019, an investigation found that the 2017 World Series champion Houston Astros had used a camera to illegally steal signs from opponents at home games. The Astros had installed a camera in the center field of their stadium to steal signs from the pitchers of the teams they faced. Here's how it worked. A center field camera would send a feed of the opposing catcher's sign to a TV monitor in the tunnel between the Astros dugout and clubhouse. Players and employers would watch the feed, and once they decoded the signs, they'd make a loud noise to communicate what pitch was coming by banging on a trash can in the tunnel. The coaches and players also used other communication techniques, such as text messages sent to smartphones or smartwatches in the dugout. In January 2020, the team's general manager, Jeff Luhnow, and their manager, A.J. Hinch, were fired and also forced the team to forfeit several draft picks. This was undoubtedly one of the most infamous episodes of cheating in recent MLB history. 5. Greg Nettles. Greg Nettles boasted a 22-year-long career in baseball and played for the Montreal Expos, Atlanta Braves, San Diego Padres, New York Yankees, Cleveland Indians, and Minnesota Twins. But Greg cheated a few times as well. In 1974, Nettles was caught cheating by way of using super balls, which are said to help hitters by adding an extra bounce to a bat. When discovered, the balls were taken off the field and Nettles was blasted a 10-game suspension for his efforts. But his solo homer was allowed, and that made all the difference, as the Yankees won 1-0 for Sammy Sosa. But Nettles wasn't the only vet to have had this trick in his bag. In June 2003, during the first inning of play between the Chicago Cubs and the Tampa Bay Rays, Sammy Sosa had a driving hit, but his bat broke after contact. Something was obviously wrong. The plate umpire took the pieces to check it and noticed that he had a cork inside, which is illegal in big leagues. The cork gives it lightness and allows the batter to have a faster exit from his swing. Well, Sosa almost got himself out of the situation by saying that it was a bat that he used to do shows in batting practice and that he was wrong to take it for his turn. It's a good thing that nobody believed him and he was expelled from the game. 3. Pittsburgh drug tales. The Pirates were a better team when they had drug addicts playing the field. Prominent figures Lee Mazzilli, Rod Scurry, Dale Berra, Keith Hernandez, Tim Raines, and Dave Parker, among others, were all summoned to appear before a grand jury. The testimonies proved that drugs were omnipresent throughout the league. Rod Scurry left a game in the late innings to find cocaine, and John Milner bought 2 grams of cocaine for $200 in the bathroom stalls in 1980 during a game against the Astros. To make things even crazier, it was Kevin Koch, the Pirates' mascot, who bought cocaine and introduced players to a drug dealer. 2. Kent Herbeck. With so many pitchers dominating this list, it's probably good to include a position player who cheated on the biggest stage the old-fashioned way. In Game 2 of the 1991 World Series, Atlanta's Ron Gant smacked a single to left field. When the throw came to third, Gant briefly thought about going to second but hustled back to first in time to beat Kent Herbeck's tag. However, Herbeck decided to pull Gant off the bag, using some leverage to try and make it appear that Gant's momentum took him off the base. It was sleek and almost worked. Perhaps the only person in the United States who figured out that Herbeck's ruse worked was the first base umpire, and that was enough to get Gant called out. To this day, bringing up this event angers Braves fans. 1. Steroid era. Greatness comes in many ways, but Jose Canseco became known as a player who made himself great with steroids. Coming off the first 40 home run in baseball history, he denied using steroids, wasn't caught, and won the MVP award. So something had to be done to stop him. On November 18th, the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1988 stated clearly that it is illegal to distribute or possess anabolic steroids with the intent to distribute for any use in humans other than the treatment of disease based on the order of a physician. But that didn't stop the junkies, as there were several other instances after. In 1992, trainer Curtis Wenzlaff was arrested for distributing steroids. He later admitted to giving Canseco and 30 other players steroids. In 1996, steroid use led to some extreme performances, and 17 major league players hit over 40 home runs, easily eclipsing the previous record of 8 in 1961. Also, third baseman Ken Caminiti admitted to using the juice during his MVP season in 1996 with the Padres. During McGwire's chase of Roger Maris's single-season home run record of 61, a jar of Androstenedione was found in McGwire's locker. He went on to hit 70 home runs and admitted to his use of the drug. In 2001, star Barry Bonds, who had never hit 50 home runs in a season, hit 73 to break McGwire's record. In 2003, Balco went under investigation, and Barry Bonds, Jason Giambi, and Gary Sheffield were called to testify in front of the grand jury. They were charged for the distribution of drugs to a plethora of players. So, in 2004, the MLB began testing major leaguers. Canseco had cheated so much that he came out with songs, Juiced, Wild Times, Rampant Roids, Smash Hits, and How Baseball Got Big, in which he confesses to injecting McGwire and reveals many other players' steroid use. Confessions don't get more melodic than that. If you liked this video,
then subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to like and comment.